Hey everyone, happy Saturday, Dream Team. It is Monday, May 9th, or no, Saturday. We are still in the midst of a quarantine, obviously. But if you are watching live, that little red button's in the replay. I just wanted to come and kind of check in, because I haven't been live, since, what day was that? After that last restock and all of that. And I just wanted to come in and I know we've had so many new people added to the team. And there may be people that just don't know me, new people that are with the company. And so I just wanted to, I'm kind of saying, taking a break this weekend, which is kind of cool. But also my mom, for the first time in like 45 days, we don't have any kids in the house. My mom lives down the road, and she took the kids for a few hours. It's kind of my Mother's Day present, I think. So I really, really appreciate that. And I took, this morning and just literally did like some self-care stuff. That I needed, like a little facial, little bath, and I did a new mani, and I was just thinking, and then Brandy's post kind of, inspired me about new stylists, and, and I realized that there are some people that, one, do not know me and do not know leadership, and two, don't know about the company and all of that. And how I respond to a lot of things has to do a lot with my life experience. But then also, in certain things that I've been through in my life, and, and I kind of feel like, mistakes can definitely make people humble more so than a great achievement makes you arrogant. Being humble and, empathy and all that stuff that you get from mistakes and hard times is definitely a bigger lesson. So I'm just going to, jump on and introduce myself. If you've been with the team a long time, you may have heard this stuff a million times before. But if you're not, I do want you to stay tuned, because I do, it's hard not to like personalize and internalize stuff. And like when you feel like you're being like, and a lot of people are frustrated and upset, and I get that. But, so I just want to get, kind of just give you a little gist on me. So I'm Brittany. I am the upline of this team, right? I joined Color Street July 21st, 2017. We launched in June, and the founders were picked, I think, like back in like April or March of 2017. So that's how that works. If you are wondering what a presidential founder is, that is not me. I am not a founder. I'm not a founding stylist. Those founders were actually chosen by corporate. Usually they had some type of experience being very successful in direct sales. They had to do like a process, and then to become an actual presidential founder, they had to meet certain requirements, right? And they were picked beforehand. So I am and then they opened up the presidential circle. We do have some presidential circle members on this team, and I'll explain what that is. So I am a presidential circle. Monica Fagundes and Michelle Colello, who I run this team with, are also presidential circle members. And then we have Audra DeHart and Rachel McCarthy. So those are who on this team made it as a presidential circle member. And now the founders and circles, we make up what the presidential team is. So now it's considered one. So what's the difference between if you hear someone's a founder and a circle? Presidential circle members are people that did not join at the very beginning, and we had to make it a certain rank and keep it that rank within a certain amount of time. So that's the difference. A lot of people ask for that. We also are kind of the field's communication to home office. So we, bring a lot of suggestions to them. We're kind of their eyes and ears. We do have some benefits, as far as like different pay stuff, but then also that. But we aren't like CEO. We're not into different, we don't sit down and make contracts. They still choose, what to tell us. We did have to sign an NDA. There's some stuff we're not allowed to disclose, but we don't, make the decisions. You know, I can't be like, hey, what's up, Mr. Park? How are you doing today? You know, have you thought about adding timers to the cart? I don't have that power. You know, what I can do is say, hey, have you, you know, in the group, suggest it. But a million times they've already heard the suggestion. And like I said, there's a lot on the back end that I don't have privy to, but I know that they have pros and cons and that they have contracts and that they have to work with all that. So now that that's done, so I'm a Presidential Circle member. And I told you guys when I joined Color Street, and I'll give you a little background over my whole life, right? So I've been really, really open about the fact that, I am a recovering drug addict, right? I have over 10 years clean. I was a IV heroin user, and there's other drugs involved, but that was my drug of choice. And I, you know, I was an Army brat, and in my teenage years, I spent many years of my life in and out of rehabs, and then it ended up in and out of jails, homelessness, you know, and I was a chronic relapser. And then I eventually met my bottom in my addiction in August of 2009 when I was facing about 7 years in prison, right? I was, and it was, you know, I actually, that day that I was arrested, I had planned my suicide. So I always say that I was more rescued than arrested. And I had made the decision then to, you know, change my life. And I didn't have any children at the time. It was just me, but I felt so hopeless. So a lot of how I respond to things in my business have to do a lot with how I, have dealt with those problems and how I've dealt with the very hard struggle of getting clean and staying clean. And, you know, I have definitely been in circumstances that not a lot of people have been through. Like, I know real problems and real pain, even though it was self-inflicted. So I have all, you know, and because I have all those skills from being in recovery, I'm very, very solution based, because what I've learned is when I'm in the problem, it has never served me. You know, I'm not one for self-pity anymore. Self-pity was always a reason, you know, for me to use. I'm not, you know, I'm very, very, this is what I want to do. How do I get there? You know, and I've had many obstacles, and I'll talk a little bit about that because my obstacles is what kind of made me join direct sales. So I was clean for several years, then became a mother. I was in a horrible relationship where I was financially dependent. I ended up marrying him. It was abusive and horrible, but I was financially dependent. And I had 7 felony convictions, and I could not get a job. I am a convicted felon, and no matter what I did, I got an education. And then I was working at a restaurant, you know, for about 7-8 years at the time. They wanted to let me become a manager. I did all the stuff to become a manager, was so excited to have that opportunity. And then I got a call that the legal department was not going to let me move forward with being a manager. And I was like, gosh, why did I even get clean? I remember feeling, you know, as hopeless that day as I ever had. And just, you know, feeling, and I get what it means to feel powerless, right? And so I have these different skills from my life, from, you know, being powerless, and then having to accept it. And then now I have to take action. And I hope you guys see the, kind of the common theme here of having different times in my life where, you know, I felt powerless and hopeless and frustrated, you know, real things. And then I had to kind of pivot, right? And so that led me to direct sales. I joined a company in April of 2017. There was a wait list. So I got my kit then July. And it just wasn't my thing. So I did that company for like 3 or 4 weeks, hardcore, and that's how I found Color Street. I always want to make sure you guys know that I have kind of always been an underdog in my life through so many things. You know, when I found Color Street, we were on food stamps, Medicaid, every single type of assistance you can think of, but then also in debt from payday loans and, you know, having to depend on family and outside sources and stuff like that. So I know it's been very different to have joined Color Street, you know, and I felt like an underdog when I joined here. A lot of the leaders do have experience, you know, whether like it's education, you know, in marketing, or, you know, huge followings in social media, or coming from another MLM where they also were a top leader. So I did, you know, and so I started here with what I felt no experience, a couple hundred Facebook friends, and I, again, had that obstacle, and I got to work. We didn't have any team pages, and the website was way horrible than it is right now. And if you're a leader, we didn't have where it shows what rank you are. You literally had to print everything off, and, you know, I've had times where I've missed rank because my math was wrong on someone several levels down. But again, I had those obstacles, and what I did, like you know, my upline is Katie Harbison. You know, she's in Team Fancy Fingers. You'll see her name. She's the #1. She has the #1 team. We are, you know, a big part of that volume here, which I'm always really, really proud of. But we didn't have any of the pages, and, you know, it took a lot of like working together, learning together. I learned from people that I enrolled. You know, and I didn't enroll anyone for about 5 months. So anyways, but I did eventually start having success, which was so new to me. And it also allowed me to leave that marriage, which was a really big part. That was a big part of my why. The other thing was it allowed me to have success and be financially supportive and a role model to my kids, because I felt like I couldn't. Just for one, I was staying in a relationship that wasn't happy, but for two, like, just so, like, I literally was missing everything. I was working, dropping them off at daycare that the county paid for to go make ends meet, and I just did not feel like I had a purpose, and I felt so locked. So, like, Color Street helped me come out of my shell, and if you look at, you know, lives from where I, you know, first started, even down here, like, it was not the same. You know, and there's a lot more elements into it as far as, you know, I struggled with food addiction and was over 350 pounds. But what I know is, like, through my journey with Color Street, and we've grown so fast, and we've had definitely some ups and downs. I remember Halloween 2017 selling out in 10 minutes. It was you know, and then they didn't have enough strips, and that's when we had only a handful of stylists compared to now, like 5,000. And, you know, and I remember, like, going into December of 2019 and only having 2 strips, and then, like, when we switched the system, and which they thought was going to be good enough, but we surpassed that growth. So what I know is they listen, sometimes not as fast as what we want them to listen to, but they do. I know that they look at what's going to help the majority of the stylists, those people that may feel like they're underdogs, like I've always felt. They don't really, you know, look at what's going to benefit the 1%, but they look at, you know, but sometimes it takes time, and I know that from my experience. I've seen it. And that's why I love this company, because the story from the founder, you know, he persevered in ways that I've had to persevere, but then always looking at, you know, what's going to benefit the majority of people. And sometimes it's not fast enough, and what we feel is fast enough, but I don't have that information on what it takes to do some of those things. But my experience shows me that they've always made it right. And, like, I want you guys to know that I get what it feels like to be powerless and frustrating, but I also know what it's like to have to learn new skills, what it's like to hold on through something that's hard, and what comes at the end of that. And that's not even has anything to do with my Color Street journey. That has to do with my life journey, and so many different aspects, that we don't have to get in through here. It's not a therapy session, but I just want you to know that, like, I've, have definitely picked up some skills that, that have helped me in this business. And I feel very, very hard. I, take a lot of things to heart, but ultimately, like, we know what we have control over, and sometimes it's best to focus on that. But, I've had to make a lot of decisions off of faith and hope, and this isn't anything religious at all. This is just like, whatever you choose, anything, that's bigger and outside of yourself, because if I hadn't of in those really dark times, I don't know how I would have made it, So what I'm doing this weekend is kind of just chilling, right? I'm just, hope, that post for Mr. Park was really, it was just another example of him. He is not happy with how things are going, and he is trying to figure it out. And that just reminds me of, of times where I wasn't happy with how things were going in my life, and I just, was trying to figure it out. And I'm just, relaxing. I'm enjoying my weekend, and I'm excited to know that this is very temporary, that there's going to be solutions. There's definitely going to be bumps in the road. And you guys, like, I've had so many bumps in the road of my life, like this, on the big scale of things, we can get through it. And I'm actually excited. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this opportunity, what's going to happen when we get all stocked up again and things are selling and they're shipping, and we all can get on the website, whatever that looks like. If that looks like queue system or timers, like I said, I'm not tech savvy, but I know they have people that are figuring it out, and that they're not okay with this. He has been through so much in his life to get through this goal. He's not going to let coronavirus system stop him, you guys. He's not. And they're, and have people that have that drive. It's a small few, but they do it, they get through it. So, I just wanted to make sure you guys know, if you're new, know a little bit about me and kind of where I come from, and know that, like, I do not give up. I have always been, a fighter. And I, sometimes to a flaw, as far as like excuses and self-pity, I can admit I have a hard time listening to those and accepting those, because I'm like, listen, if anyone has an excuse to not have made this work, it is me. And I could list a million, right? Just how far we were. So I do know that. I do know that we cannot make anyone do this. We cannot make anybody want this. Color Street, but that's the same for everything. You cannot make someone stay clean. You cannot make someone make the decision to, if they have type 2 diabetes, to change their eating habits. We have to find that belief inside of ourselves. And, so what we're here to do is love you and support you no matter what you decide to do. It's really hard to me, it's hard for me to see people give up so easily, because, I know that there's always better things if we don't give up, because I have that experience in my life. So, I'm here, if I don't know you, to know that I see your names, I see your comments. No one is lost. Can I, talk to every single one of you one-on-one? I can't. I wish I could. Literally, if there was a way I could, I would. But, whether you decide to do what you do, it's ultimately going to be on us, no matter what. No matter if it's Color Street, no matter if, if it's a type of an addiction, a mindset, whatever excuses, whatever pity parties we're having, it ultimately comes down to us, and the choices that we make. And, think of something in your life that you've got through, and kind of sometimes we got to pull that strength. And I know right now we're all kind of going crazy. This is definitely like it's a very hard time for mental health. And so it's hard sometimes to put things in perspective. We feel frustrated. We want someone to blame. Gosh, and if someone can relate with wanting someone to blame? Do you guys know, like, when I was using as an addict, I always wanted to blame, you know, situations from my past. You know, I was molested, you know, I moved around a lot, parents, I wanted to blame. But ultimately, you know, there's a lot of people that have those situations that never pick up drugs. That was just an excuse for me. And I had to work through that and realize, you know, that I had ownership in that. And now I make the decision on, you know, something in my past, not defining it. So it's the same, like, yeah, we all have, you know, this would be a great excuse to be like, okay, you know, this is not working for me. But we all have those choices on how we see things and how we move forward. And I see it within the numbers. You know, there are certain people that are like, dang, sucks. This is hard. How am I going to do it? And then taking, you know, and running with it, whatever that looks like for them. And then there's people that are already wanting to quit. If that's you, that's fine. There's nothing wrong. Everyone has their own journey and you have to work through it yourself. But I see it. I've seen it in so many different places and times. So it's just about, you know, figuring it out. But we'll be here regardless. Color Street's going to be here. These nail strips, your team, you know, if you're new here, I would love for you to hang out and not leave. We say, don't leave before the miracle happens. That's a recovery phrase, right? Don't quit before the miracle happens. But I feel that way so much about Color Street. It's such a truth for me. Like, you know, like, don't give up before, you know, something big can happen. And so I do feel frustrated when I see people talking like about quitting, and it has nothing to do with, it's just like, I don't want people to give up on themselves, you know, and it doesn't have to be like, you know, just do something to take those, you know, that next right step to whatever, you know, is the better person. Just be, you know, better than you were the other day. You know, I always try to, you know, I don't compare myself anymore to people on the outside, because I did that when I started, when I saw all these people. You know, I just try to compare myself to who I was before, and I am doing a hell of a lot better than I was, you know, even a year ago. You guys, last May, I didn't maintain rank. It was a really hard month for me, and seeing my stuff, like, it was a really hard mental month. And this May, even if we are locked in this and all this stuff going on, this is a hell of a lot better than I was last May, excuse my language. And that's okay, and I'll own it. But I had to make choices. I had to relaunch my business. I had to start showing up. So you guys, just know I'm going to show up. And I tell you guys this stuff to keep me accountable too. But I'm here. I may not be like your typical, but you know, sometimes I get afraid that I say the wrong stuff and I think about it. But, you know, I think it's always just important to be real. And you guys, we're just going to chill, have a good Mother's Day, and see what kind of news happens on Monday. And, you know, like, I do not think it's going to be automatically fixed on Monday. I mean, that would be amazing, right? But I would love to hear like some type of communication. I can say this is not going to go on forever. So hang in there, enjoy your weekend, whatever that looks like. And, you know, I will be on here soon. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.